the drama, the tea, the gossip in the video game world. Where does it start?
I mean, that's a good question. It's probably everywhere.
It is everywhere. That's true. But in the video game world, we've got some tea. It all starts with Warner Brothers. They are patenting a Nemesis system in their video game.
That's right.
What does this mean, Matt?
So the Nemesis system is basically a system where there's like online components probably to the game, but the main game is like a single player game.
Right.
And you go along and you find different orcs in basically like the Lord of the Rings universe, essentially. Mm-hmm. And when you find these orcs, they have names. Some of them have names. They're more like higher, like level, like, you know, like if you were in an army or something like that. They're like higher tiered orcs and stuff like that. So those orcs will have different levels to them and stuff like that. But you basically, if you kill an orc or something like that, you're going to create a nemesis with them. They're going to recognize you if you go back into like an area where they're in, and they're going to go after you.
Right.
The more you interact with one of these orcs, they should eventually become like your nemesis. And when you get to the end of the game, it will show you who was your main nemesis throughout the course of the game. So it's kind of like learning, like based off of what you do,
who you hurt or kill the most, right? And that makes them your nemesis. They want revenge on you. You meet them at the end of the game.
Right.
And boom.
So that's essentially what the Nemesis system is. It's really cool. It's something different. Mm-hmm. There's some different things like that. Like if you guys have played Assassin's Creed games, they have these like similar system. It's like a high-ranking person that you don't want to mess with, that are in different territories.
Yeah.
I think they're called executioners. I don't remember their exact name. Mm-hmm. That might be wrong. It's something like that.
Yeah.
If you go into one of them and they have a level that's one level higher than you, maybe you beat them. 2 levels, you got to do really good. If they have like 3 or more levels on you, they're gonna murder you if they hit you like once or twice. So you kind of want to like figure out when is the right time to go after those people.
Right.
That kind of already exists out there, but this is a little bit different. It's a little bit more in depth.
A little more structured, yeah.
So they patent this whole system, and so I'm going to read this real quick. This came from John Ryan via IGN. While the language in the application is fairly obtuse, as most patent claims tend to be, the short version is that the patent covers a system featuring procedurally generated NPCs, non-player characters, basically computers, that exist in a hierarchy and interact with and will... Did I read that right?
Yeah, interact with and will.
Remember the actions of the players. They'll have their appearance, their behavior altered by the players, and whose place in that hierarchy can change and affect the position of other NPCs in said hierarchy. And yes, that's the simplified version. So that's another thing. Like I forgot about this.
Yeah.
If an orc kills you,
and
you come back, because you can come back to life in the game too.
Right.
They will rise in the ranks in the orcs.
Oh, for killing you. Okay.
So I forgot about that. That's an interesting piece in there. So that's another part of their patent that's like unique to them.
Yeah. So it's very specific what they have here.
It had to be specific.
Yeah.
Because they failed to get this patent over and over and over again. They probably kept rewording this.
They really
to make it more specific to get. They've been trying to get this patent since I think like 2016.
Oh my gosh.
I think was the year.
So this all started with their game Shadow of War, right? This is where it started. This
Shadow
system?
of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor.
War was the sequel.
Okay, so Shadow of Mordor, they started this system with the Nemesis.
Yes.
Okay. And since then, they've been trying to patent that.
Yes.
But from what I was also reading around, there are other games that have, similar, like you were saying, to this, like Assassin's Creed. And what it's going to mean, I saw they were trying to patent this by February.
End of February. February 23rd.
Yes, February 23rd. And what they're going to do with games that already have it from this year or this past year, and what that means for them. And I'm wondering that too, honestly. Like, how specific they're going to stop these companies.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and what they're gonna do and how they're. I mean, I guess they're just gonna start suing if people do come out with these games, right?
I think because the patent is hyper specific, you're barely gonna see anybody get sued over this.
Right. Not a lot of people are gonna do this kind of system.
Even if you use the Assassin's Creed example that I gave you guys a few minutes ago, they're probably not gonna get sued over this because it's not very specific. It's like you know, patenting an idea like this is horrible. It's so stupid. First of all, you should not patent ideas in the video game industry.
Right.
The industry itself gets better by learning from things. Right. The first time somebody made something like a point that you brought up earlier was a turn-based system.
Yeah. Yeah.
If somebody had patented that, then there would be like probably, I don't know, a 10, 15, 20 year period where nobody would be able to make a turn-based system unless you went to that patent holder and said, hey, we're going to license this from you. Here's some cash so we can use your that turn-based idea, system.
Yeah. And that's
crazy.
That's unbelievable to have this great idea that would work perfectly with this other patented idea, and you can't do it because of that.
Right.
I mean, that is sad. It's just it's pointless for video games. Everyone just wants to have fun.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, they're taking the fun out of it for the players because if anybody wanted to use that, you know, this is the bigger problem, right? People like Assassin's Creed, they don't meet the specific criteria. I can't imagine Assassin's Creed getting sued over this, especially because they've been doing this for a few Assassin's Creeds now. This isn't something new that they started doing yesterday. This is something they've been doing for a while.
Exactly, and same thing with this whole system. It's very similar to other things. Yeah.
Right. They failed to get this patent earlier, so now it's going to be hard for them to go against them.
Yeah.
But what this sets up is a precedent for other people to patent other gameplay ideas. That is messed up.
That is dangerous, too. We don't need that.
This is like the worst news I can imagine. Like, you know, we're going to get into bad news. This whole thing is about bad news. I'm sorry. I know it's February. I know it's like Valentine's Day. It should be like a happy time and stuff. This is very depressing stuff that we're getting into. So this is not good for developers. This is not good for publishers. This is not good for players of video games because you want innovation to happen. So this Nemesis system that they created could have, like, Ubisoft could have adopted that and it could have become something 10 times better than what they did.
You're stopping growth of other video games and the future of gaming. Like, this can turn into something so much more.
Even WB themselves uses systems from their other, like, one game would be like, oh, Arkham Asylum owned by WB. You guys made an awesome fighting game. We're going to incorporate that into one of our other games. They're going to be able to do that, obviously, because they're WB.
Right.
But now they're like, what if they patent that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who ape the Batman Arkham-style fighting system. That's done now.
Yeah.
If they allow people to keep patenting these ideas, it's not good, guys. It's not good.
Nothing's going to age. Nothing's going to upgrade or update or change. It's just going to stay stagnant. That's just unbelievable. It's pointless. I don't get it. It's selfish. It really is.
It's not good for the rest of the industry, that's for sure.
Exactly.